Hello friends, welcome to Williamsburg. It may not be the one that you recognize for breeches and cocked hats and George Washington, but we're standing here today on Queens Creek Road, just north of the old historic colonial capital. This is the narrowest point of the peninsula here, and this old roadbed, cut in the 17th century, connected Williamsburg to the York River. This section of property is so important. Tracing its history needs to start with the pre-contact, the Kiskiak natives tribe who lived in this area even before the first permanent English settlement at Jamestown arrived. As people moved off of Jamestown and settled into Williamsburg, this area would once again become important because it is at that narrowest point on the peninsula between the James and the York Rivers. An action here in 1620s known as Bacon's Rebellion takes place right on this very same property, just as people start to begin plantations here outside of what will become the colonial capital. We know that as Virginia forms into a colony, of course there's unrest here, and part of that unrest takes place right on this very same property. Behind me on this road, the previous governor of Virginia, Lord Dunmore, will flee the colonial palace here in Williamsburg in the summer of 1775, just as the fighting breaks out during the American Revolution. And a few years later, the Queen's Rangers, a loyalist group, will come right through this area, exploring, skirmishing, and reconnaissance for the British Army as they will eventually make their way to Yorktown in 1781. And it's for these same reasons that when the war breaks out, the Civil War, in 1861, that the Confederates decide to defend the peninsula using this very same narrow section of property and this very same road that's behind me. So when the Battle of Williamsburg breaks out on May 5th, 1862, in a driving rainstorm, much as it is today, this very same road becomes important for the people who are going to fight and try to defend the 14 sets of earthworks that are at this narrowest point on the peninsula. However, it's not wooded on May 5th, 1862. This field is under wheat, and the people who planted that wheat, the enslaved who were here on the Custis farm, are also the same folks who were impressed to build the earthworks that the Union Army would attack later that day. This section of earthworks, known as Redoubt Number 11, those earthworks were unmanned by the Confederate Army on May 5th, 1862. So we believe it's those very same black men who then go into Union headquarters, let the Union officers know that the Confederate left had been abandoned, and they themselves will escort General Hancock here to win victory in the afternoon into early evening on May 5th, 1862. It's an incredibly evocative and important place. Not many people know about the Battle of Williamsburg, but we're looking to change that. On the historic battlefield itself, of the 10,000 acres of study that is here for the Battle of Williamsburg, this section of property, these 230 acres, are the only section eligible for the National Register of Historic Places because of the importance of this property, not just during the battle, but its history beforehand, and also what it does to bring about emancipation.